at least somewhat back on track.
Yeah, that was nice. It was kind of a tale of two stories last night. WNBA was not bad, actually. I was just telling Tom before we jumped on. I was a little crushed by Skylar Diggins-Smith not getting that fourth assist last night, which would have cashed our parlay. But at the end of the day, the picks that we put out, Brianna Jones was money. I wrote up that pick while I was at the movie theater over the weekend.
What'd you go see?
I went and saw If, the new Imaginary Friend movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. How was that?
It was good. It was good. So I was like, I got it. We always go, like with the kids, we go like to the 10 a.m. movies. I'm like, gotta get them when they still have energy. But on the way to the movie,
I don't have kids, but we still go to early movies now too because I don't have energy. Like me and my buddies, we were talking about going to see Mad Max. Somebody suggested like 11:18, like showtime, and nobody pushed back. I was like, hell yeah,
hell yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
It's like we talked about on the West Coast. Watch that basketball game. It's over at 8:15.
That's it.
Go to bed. Yeah.
But at nighttime, you know, when we were doing the watch party the other night, you had your you had like not a lot of light in your room there, so that could be why you're getting sleepy early at night.
Maybe.
But anyway, I was sitting there and I was like, I got to get this Brianna Jones pick out. It's just so good, and the line's going to move. So I was typing it up while the previews were going on, and then they have that one advertisement that's like, "Put away your phone, you jerk! Like, don't be that guy." Like, shit, so I just submitted it. But anyway, yeah, she cashed. She only played 18 minutes. I think she finished with 16 points or something like that. So, and Calvin was all over both of those games last night. Seattle took care of business, although they almost let the Sky back in the game, and Connecticut just destroyed Phoenix. So anyway, we got three WNBA games tonight. What do we got going on in hockey and MLS there, Tim?
All right, so we actually have a ton. I was not freaking out, but as we got on, I was looking at lines for NHL. We have one game tonight, and they took away Jason Robertson. Jason Robertson is an absolute stud for Dallas. He's been, if they're in the Discord, you know we've been betting on him a ton. His point tonight is -140. Much like, remember Trocheck last night was brought down a ton. Trocheck scored the first goal, had 2 points. Like, that's what he does. So we're getting him at a discount. Jason Robertson's coming off a hat trick. Edmonton went up 2 goals. Jason Robertson scored 3 by himself and said, not today. They're leading the series 2-1, and they're still playing in Edmonton, which is usually a huge advantage for Edmonton. If you're not a hockey fan, like the Edmonton Oilers are, like, that's where Gretzky played. They're like, I don't want to offend people. They're not the Dallas Cowboys, but the way that people pay attention to Dallas Cowboys that don't live near Dallas. Actually, somebody just posted recently that Arsenal from the Premier League, because they're like a team that's always expected to be good, but they haven't won a championship in 20 years. They posted that, like, you know, the Schwarzenegger, like the 2 hands, and it was like Arsenal and Dallas. So I really enjoyed that.
I like the cowboy reference. They're like the Canadian Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they're so much better, and they actually win, and they're good. They haven't won a ship in a while, though, and this is the team that could do it. So them being at home, they're incredible on the power play. They spend more time on the power play than anybody. And Draisaitl, Leon Draisaitl, our guy, Dreidel, he's he didn't score a point last game. You saw that plus 550 that we put out. He was the only one. That's just like that assist. He's like the Rock. You're like, he's going to get one. Let's just add this in and everybody else. So he'll have one tonight. Jason Robertson will have one tonight. I was trying to get them on the bigger books, and a lot of them have them taken down, which is a great sign, but bad for betting. I was able to find it on Bet365, which I know a lot of people hate because they're available in like 3 cities across the world. But if you have 365, Draisaitl and Robinson, a point each, no power play, no nothing, just straight up points, plus 115. So that would be my smack for hockey. I am going to do a little bit more, and I'm going to put out probably a couple longer ones because we hit one and we were really close in the last game. So this is it's not a series ender, but if the Stars win in Edmonton tonight to go up 3-1, it essentially is. So it's similar to Minnesota last night, right? Like if Edmonton wants to stay alive, they're gonna show up. And everybody did for Minnesota except for Naz Reid. But we'll forgive him for one poor performance.
He was good to us this playoff, so we can't be too bad.
He was. He's forgiven. So no matter what, it will be a fun game. But if you're just looking to smack one thing, Draisaitl on one side, Robertson on the other. The other people I like for points in this game, Zach Hyman and Evan Bouchard are both just absolute wagons. They're pretty juicy now, minus 200, minus 215. We were getting them in the minus 160 to 180, but after you score 55 goals in the playoffs, that price goes up. And then Miro Heiskanen, he's a defenseman for Dallas. He's at 142. He got a last second goal in like an empty netter from basically like full court. Too much basketball.
Full ice.
Yeah. So he tossed that in to get his point. So like the point last game's a little bit inflated based on their score and his involvement, but I would like him as the other guy from Dallas. Wyatt Johnston's been shooting. I'll get a little bit more work in, and in the Discord I'll drop the details like we did yesterday. But he would be the next. If you're going to try to pair somebody with Dallas, I would put him for the power play with like the Quinn Hughes, JT Miller we were doing with Vancouver for so long. That's it for hockey. I will get more out. I'm very excited about this game. I just want to give it a minute outside of the Robertson Draisaitl read, and then just see if we can build something fun. Now, there's a shitload of MLS soccer. Now, the only team that matters, the Columbus Crew, is not playing tonight because on Saturday we were playing in the Champions Cup final because we're the best team, at least in this part of the world. But tonight, there's like 10 games. And as we talked about here in the Footy channel, lineups are so important. And the thing is, with all of this extra shit, like if the Crew were to play tonight, they'd put out a different team. So I get lineups about an hour before. So you really have to stay on those alerts for shot plays because it really depends on who's playing. But if you look at just these games tonight, they start at 7:30, they go all the way to 10:45 East Coast time. There are 5 games that are 83% or higher on the 1.5, and 1.5s are like those Caitlin Clark 4-rebound alt builders. It's like just the best. And if you don't watch Major League Soccer in the US, we score so many fucking goals. It's the best. But Philly and Toronto, depending on lineups, obviously, but they are 86% head-to-head. Both of them have been scoring. They have some studs. So that game, Austin and Portland, starts an hour later at 8:30. That's at 88% head-to-head. I love that. And then basically all of the late games from Sporting KC, Vancouver, LA Galaxy, Dallas, Seattle, Real Salt Lake, LA, Minnesota. Those are all 93, 83, 84, 93. So if you want to just set it and forget it, take those late games, 1.5, and you get an even money builder. So you'd take Vancouver, Dallas, Real Salt Lake, and Minnesota matches, 1.5 total. So for the entire game, both teams could score 1 each. One could score 2. Anything above that doesn't matter. He said
and the percentages
of hockey.
The percentages you're giving out were what? The hit rates?
That's head-to-head history. Yeah. So if they've covered that. And then just for fun, Austin, Portland, LA Galaxy are both in the 80s for both teams to score. But I'm going to stay away from that early. I really want to see who's on the pitch for everyone. And what we'll try to get in is some shot parlays and some shot on goal plays. Because there's some guys out there that are just wagons. Like, again, if you've been with us, Cucho, who's not playing tonight, unfortunately, but Julian Carranza for Philly. There's Benteke for DC. DC plays tonight. He is the most just reliable shot on target guy on the planet. And then Inter Miami. Inter Miami could put up 5 goals or they could score 0. It depends on who's on the pitch tonight. So I really want to see who they start. I feel like that's a cop-out, but if you take any of those 5 listed games over 1.5, like you could choose your own adventure there, put 3 of them together. Usually 3 of them gets you to about even money. So I like to do a lot of 1.5 builders. And then there's a few that are potential for big goals, like Miami and Atlanta. That could be a 4 or 5 goal game, easy. The Galaxy and Dallas could explode. Seattle, Real Salt Lake have actually been showing up. They could explode. And then LAFC and Minnesota. Minnesota's been sneakily scoring a lot. So any of those games could explode for 3 or more. I'll put a little bit more in the footy chat once we get closer to kickoff. I just see those lineups, man. It's kind of fucked up that, how what happened earlier in the year? Somebody in the NBA was fined for like lying about their injury report. There was like, you remember that there's like a big
Yeah,
star that was supposed to play.
I think it was Embiid, right?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. I wish there was a little bit more universal rule of disclosing injuries and given lineups, but it's kind of how it is. So you got to be quick with the shots, and you can get a lot of value, like we were talking about, when the books don't pay attention because it's so much movement that you might be able to find somebody who isn't playing, or somebody who isn't expected to play that is now confirmed, and you can grab their shots at a lot discounted rate. So that's an option, but again, stick to the 1.5 builders for now. And then if you want to cross any of those 1.5s with a Draisaitl point, Draisaitl will be my favorite of the two. Draisaitl's at home in a closeout game. So like remember last night we were talking about the safe bet, and then somebody responded, there's no safe bets. I hate saying it, but if anybody's going to put a point tonight, Leon Draisaitl will be involved. So his power play point is a great builder thing. 1+ point is a great builder thing. And then his 2+ would be great if you're doing some long shot boosted stuff, because he's the fucking man.
And he owes us.
He does after not registering a point last game. In an 8-goal game, for him to not have a point is almost like, I wish I could see the odds of knowing there will be 8 goals scored tonight and Draisaitl won't be involved in any of them. It'd be like, okay, cool. That's like plus $1 billion. That would have been great.
Should have bet on that.
Approximately. Yeah, exactly. Either way, it will be such a fun game. Dallas is sneaky fun. Edmonton is Edmonton. There will be shots, and likely there'll be at least 4 goals. So we get plenty of chance for us to cash early.
Beautiful. And our guy Jordy McBucket says Edmonton is the Lakers of hockey.
I would disagree, but I also hate the Lakers, even with LeBron. It's hard for me to. I hope he leaves. Because then I can love LeBron fully again as an Ohio guy.
Yeah, the word on the street is LeBron is potentially heading to Phoenix. He's going to take the league minimum and force Phoenix to use their 22nd pick or whatever it is on Bronny. Talk about like just totally like if Phoenix does all of that and doesn't win a championship,
they won't.
They've basically just like Brooklyn Nets themselves. Like they're just screwed for the next 10 years because they've given away their whole future to build this crappy team.
I could totally see that. I mean, I didn't think he'd want to leave LA, but that's the one destination. It's like a 1 hour, little private jet right over to Phoenix. Yeah. That's it. That's something.
Yeah, it's kind of comical when people talk about commute. You're like, once you're that rich, like the getting places is no longer an issue. Yeah. It's just convenience, I would like to see him win again, just as a guy literally from Ohio that grew up. Like my high school team lost in the tournament to a team by like 40 that then played St. Vincent St. Mary and lost by 40. So I basically played against LeBron James,
Pretty much, yeah.
But they were like, I grew up right by the school called Brookhaven, and there was a bunch of schools around there, and they had 3 people from Ohio that were going in the draft straight out of high school. People were selling tickets to high school games, and like there was standing room. Dude, it was insane. It was so much fun. Wow. So
not only did you basically play against LeBron, but you basically lost to him by 80, according to your life.
At least. So, well, because if you go by exponential, because like percentages, like if it was 40%, 40%, I lost him by like 160, now like 120. So yeah, it wasn't great for us, in that mythical game. But I'd like to see him go somewhere and do well. I'm just sick of him in a Lakers kit, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
But the Lakers of hockey should get that win tonight. They're not going to let Dallas win 2 in a row at home. And our buddy Leon is going to he might have 15 points tonight. He might be set a world record.
Way to tie it back into the hockey world.
You are going to have to hunt though, man. They are getting on top of it. Like DraftKings, for example, doesn't have 1 point for, they don't have like all lines. It's all 1.5 for Draisaitl. They don't have Jason Robertson listed on FanDuel yet, which doesn't make any sense. And then BetMGM, and it looks like, BetMGM and DraftKings are the only ones with a Jason Robertson line right now. So unless there's an injury that I'm not aware of, him at -140 is is a great look.
All right, beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
So some good early looks, and like Tim said, keep an eye on the Discord if you're a Discord member for more MLS plays as we get those lineups set closer to game time. A few shout outs before we move on. We got our guy Proptology in the crowd. We got Guap Green, Jordy McBuckets, Jay Wan, Dunk on Demand, and we got one visitor as well. So if you're a visitor and you're watching us, at the top of your screen you're going to see Prop the Mic, and then there's a join button. Just hit that join button and you will officially become part of our crew, which is just like an elite crowd. So I highly recommend you do that. All right, Dunk on Demand. We can't see what you just posted there. I don't know what that little symbol is. Looks like a...
He's just giving us the salute.
Oh, that's the salute emoji. Does that show up on your end, Tim?
Yeah.
Or you just know? For me, it's showing up.
I can see it.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I speak that emoji.
I know you love that emoji.
Dude, I don't know why. It just feels like, let's go. Well, shit, I had a train of thought and I lost it. But his anytime goal scorer is plus 125. If you can find him on a power play goal, I like the points just because he gets both chances. But I just don't see a world where he doesn't score one tonight as well. I love the hat trick. The hat trick's like plus 4,500. We're not hitting that, but that would be fun.
All right, we got Dan Johns in the crowd as well, a frequent listener, saying he's not ready for I believe he means WNBA PTSD from Phoenix going 1 for 27 shooting last night. I mean,
Calvin set a record.
Calvin did tell you that they were going to shoot a lot of threes, and honestly, 30 seconds into that game, the announcers were talking about it. I was watching that game, and they were basically saying they're running their offense like an NBA team. They're just going up there and firing. And some days it works, and some days, like last night, it doesn't work. They couldn't hit anything. So,
shout out to Calvin for that over too. That over hit in the Caitlin Clark game. That's what just do that, everybody. As we talk about the Fever. She balled out, but didn't he say like he got it like 182? And I think when we did the show, it was like 184, 185 and a half. And I think they ended up at like one. Yeah, and it ended at like 170, I think. So shout out to him. He kind of crushed.
He always crushes it. We'll have to have him back on. All right, so let's talk some W here. We got 3 games tonight. First one is Mercury, who just got crushed over in Connecticut. Now they take their little 2-hour trip from Mohegan Sun, which is Tom and I love going and watching the games there. I
want to go to one of those.
Yeah, you come in town. We'll go meet you up at Mohegan Sun.
Get to play blackjack after the game. It's the best.
Yeah, or at halftime.
Yeah, there we go.
They have a really nice sports book there. You can watch the games. Yeah. They got the arena is like right in the middle of the stadium. Tom and I bought courtside seats for I think it was like $150 each. Like we were literally like sitting
feet on the wood. Yep.
And they had $6
awesome.
beers, which at a stadium these days you can't beat that.
That's like free.
Man. So
how far is it from you?
2 hours.
Yeah.
It's easy. 2.5 hours. Yeah. Piece of cake. So
yeah, we gotta do a group road trip here soon, or business trip for all of us.
A business trip. Yeah.
We gotta study.
We gotta study. All right. So I looked at scoring. Phoenix is just atrocious defensively so far. They're giving up 86 points per game. They're scoring 82 points per game. So they're scoring a decent amount, but they're just not playing any defense at all. They're going up against the Liberty tonight, who are 4-2. Liberty are giving up 77 points per game. So on the lower side, they're scoring 83 points per game. The spread in this game is 14.5 points. I know the Mercury just got blown out, but that does seem like a pretty large number for a pretty good team. So keep that in mind. The total is the exciting part, 170.5, which, transitioning from NBA world, that would seem like a super low total. But in the WNBA, we're usually looking at totals in like the 160s, 165, 166. So 170.5 points is a lot for a game. So there should be a good amount of scoring in this one. Every position against Phoenix is scoring a lot. Guards are scoring the third most points in the league. Centers are scoring the fourth most, and forwards are scoring the fifth most. So it's really choose who you think is going to go off tonight for the Liberty. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Let's pull up PropSide Cash and take a quick look at a few options.
This reminds me of a team like Boston right now with some. It's like you can't pick. It's like, is it going to be who's going to do the scoring? Tatum, Brown. Is it a White game? Like, right? When Porzingis was there, they're just so stacked that sometimes these teams are hard to project.
Yeah, there's definitely a few teams in the league that fall into that profile. I mean, the Aces certainly have 3 to 4 scorers. The Liberty have, probably 4 scorers. What do we got here? Jordy McBuckets is dropping some knowledge on us. Tina Charles is 8 made free throws behind Yolanda Griffin.
This is like the incentive week in the NFL. That's like one of my favorite weeks for props, is trying to find those incentives that they don't take down. Like 7 receptions to get to your grand or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that Collier 9 rebounds away from 1,000 and 3 blocks away. I don't know. Do you think Tina Charles is excited about becoming the 15th top free throw scorer in the history?
I would be.
I don't know.
Maybe.
How about, real quick, Cameron Brink's pregame video of her just draining threes? Me tagging you guys and trying to find a 1-3 line, and they took them all down, and she hits one 2 minutes in. Remember that last night? That was fun. Her 1-3 was -110 on like every book, and then they put up that hype video, and they took it all down.
She's just excited to be back in the league.
Yeah, she is, and she's playing well. I don't know what I'm doing here.
There is a risk-free, like a no sweat on DraftKings today for WNBA. It says minimum odds 500 per leg.
Yeah, because they realized that NBA is about to taper off, right? So real hard for a solid week. So they need to start getting people.
Yeah, shout out to Minnesota for getting that done, though, giving us at least one more game. It's nice of them. Make the gap a little bit shorter.
I thought so. All right, so let's talk about this game a little bit more. Phoenix and New York. Again, I'm a little stumped on this one. I think, there's 3 players that I'm looking at from a scoring standpoint. I'm looking at Laney for 12.5 points because, like I said, guards are scoring the 3rd most points against Phoenix in the league. So you got Laney, who's considered a guard forward, but really, if you look at her game, she does post up a little bit, but she does a lot of her damage from the outside and driving to the hoop from the perimeter. So I consider her more of a guard. Sabrina, obviously a pure guard. And then the other position I think that's interesting to look at is Jonquel. So Jonquel, started off the season scoring 25 points, 14, 14, 16, and has had 2 bad games in a row. The game against Minnesota, she was just in foul trouble the whole time. I'm sorry, that was a game against Chicago. She was in foul trouble the whole time. Game against Minnesota, I didn't actually watch, but it looks like she also struggled there. So I think she's in a pretty good spot for a bounce back. Let's just look at her her fouls. Yeah, that's the whole story. Dunk on Demand is saying if the refs get off Jonquel's back, she'll be fine. If you look at the split on PropSide Cash, you can look at the split of the fouls. So this game against Chicago, she had 3 early fouls. Like she just couldn't stop fouling, and the refs were also pretty generous on calling those fouls for the other team. So I do think she's in a better spot against a Phoenix team that doesn't really have a center. So I think this is probably a good buy low spot for Jonquel at 12.5 points. You guys got any thoughts or feelings on that?
Not really. I'm taking your word.
I'm looking at this cheat sheet that you guys put out today, and that's incredible. I gotta give you a shout out for that.
Yeah, I got a couple that I put together off that sheet there.
I'm gonna move to the sheet. I'm gonna pull that up just for everybody's education. Who's new to the pod today in a second. But So yeah, so let's just wrap these up. I do think Jonquel's in a good spot for 12.5 points. I think Laney's also in a good spot for 12.5 points. She's only cleared that in 3 of 6 games, and again, she's had 2 off games as well. This Chicago game, I think we played her for 10 points in a builder, and she missed, like, it must have been 5 open layups. She just was not in the right headspace. So I think, I think the Liberty are just going to score a lot of points tonight. So, and then I think Sabrina, if you look at her home away split so far this season, on the road, 15, 13, and 13. And at home, she scored 12, followed by 20 and 19. So I think she's always good for some points at home as well. Jordy McBuckets is saying, take a look at Sabrina's rebounds. Yeah, I mean, she had two 7 rebound games. Yes, I did see the head-to-head 10, 8, 5, 7, 7. I don't know how much value there is in looking at head-to-head versus Phoenix, right? They're a very different team than they were last year. But yeah, rebounding against Phoenix is a pretty good spot.
So speaking of that, that's the play I put together over here. If you want to take a look, I like Cloud. If you look at Cloud rebounds, 4.5, it's a little juicy at -140, but 8 of 9. I think New York you can look at, right? She's cleared that in 8 of her last 9 games against New York by quite a bit. That's a nice chart right there.
Yeah, these were playoff games. Just keep that in mind, right? Mm-hmm. These 3, and she was just like on fire.
Yeah.
That's a good point though. She's going to get booed. She's going to get booed tonight. Like they don't really like her too much in New York from that playoff series. So she's going to come out with some fire, I think, too. She'll be up for it. So Cloud, what, for 4 rebounds you like?
I think the 4.5 is nice, but I think 4 is a nice piece to a builder here. You could put her and Copper together, 4 rebounds a piece at +107. She's also done that in almost every game this season. Was that 5 of 6? With such a high total, right? There's going to be a lot of shots taken in this game. If they're not all falling, then there's going to be a lot of rebounds to be had. So I know the matchup seems decent. I know we don't have a ton of data to go off here. There's only a handful of games so far, but you have bright green. If you pull up that thing, bright green rebounding matchups for guards against New York.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, this is our DVP sheet that we maintain on the back end. If you look, what we basically do is we track, how teams are performing at every position. So you could see rebounds against the Liberty, right? So in NYL, and we're talking about rebounds for guards. 11th best in the league. So basically they're giving up the second most rebounds because there's 12 teams in the league. So targeting guards is a really good spot. So I like that a lot, Tom. It's a good look.
Thank you, sir.
Let's pull up the all prop sheet since Tim was doing a nice little plug for it.
Yeah, I think Jordy McBucket says New York takes a lot of threes. I think that's kind of the point, right? They all those threes. There should be a bunch of rebounds to grab.
Hopefully they're trying to set the record, 0 for 27 now. What a wild stat to have set the record as the worst shooting game in the history of the WNBA. It's impressive.
Yeah. So there you go. Natasha Cloud, like you said, Tom, 4 rebounds. So the way you interpret this, if this is the first time anybody's seeing this, we've got all the players listed on here, what team they play for, and then we have a recommendation section, which is here. And it's basically telling you what we suggest to play. And then over here is all the hit rates. So just using, let's use Tina Charles from the other game as an example. So 75% hit rate at getting to 10 points, a 25% hit rate at 15 points, and then so on for assists, rebounds, and 3 points made. So, Jordy McBuckets, I've been playing that sheet all wrong. What do you mean, man? It is a good education for you. So these are the recommendations, and basically the other thing that we layered on in the last week within the recommendations, we brought in the DVP that we were just looking at. So teams that are red or pink are basically bad matchups according to the DVP, and teams that are green are really good DVP matchups. Again, I wouldn't put too much emphasis. Like, I wouldn't rule out teams that are red at this point, because we're only 4 or 5 games into the season. The DVP can change very dramatically. But teams that are green, I think, are players that are green, I think, are definitely worth looking at. But again, I wouldn't rule out anything just based on this, but it will get more and more valuable as the season progresses. So anyway, going back to this game, you can see we've got Breanna Stewart at 8 rebounds is probably also a decent look as well. She's hit that in this is 8 rebounds, 83% of games so far this season. So I think that's nice. Let me just put a little. Let's just freeze.
Is it 8+ or 8.5?
8 plus is what it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's only had 1 game under that. And it was against Indy.
Yeah.
I like her for 8. That was on my thing tonight too.
Yeah, she's always good. I mean, one of the things that has benefited her rebounding wise is when Jonquel Jones goes out of the game, that just opens up a lot more rebounding opportunities for her. So that's helped her in the last 2 games. But for 8 rebounds at home, I like that a lot. Courtney Vandersloot for 4 assists, I think, is a good look as well, although the books aren't offering that. Her straight line, if you look over here, is 5.5 assists tonight. I know our guy Jordy McBuckets was on that earlier today in the Discord. And that's probably a good look by itself. But if they do open up 4 assists as an all play, I think that would be a phenomenal play in this game. So keep an eye on FanDuel for that. And then, like Tom said, just putting these 2 together alone, right? Kalia Copper for 4 rebounds and Natasha Cloud for 4 rebounds. That gave you what? Plus 100? You said?
Plus 107.
Plus 107. Very nice. All right. So those are the players from those 2 games. Again, just to summarize, I like Laney over 12.5 points. I like Jonquel Jones also. I honestly think Sabrina will also do it as well, but I like those 2 over Sabrina, and then maybe a Copper Cloud rebound play could be nice. And if you want to get greedy, maybe throw Breanna Stewart 8 rebounds in there as well.
Here we go.
What was the plus 104 that you just gave out?
Kalia Copper 4 rebounds and Natasha Cloud 4 rebounds, both guards from Phoenix.
Nice. There you go.
Okay. Have you seen Sophie Cunningham's logs? I don't know what that means.
Game logs.
No, but like what about them? Points.
Look at her points against New York. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked real nice. Oh wait, no, that's not what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, she's averaging
the head
almost 20 points a game, against New York.
Yeah.
She's really just a fun player. She just loves to get into it with everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched any Sophie Cunningham, Tim, but she's just like that player out there that just every game she's just throwing an elbow at somebody. Like
she's like the Draymond Green.
She's like the Draymond of out there.
She just can't kick anyone in the dick. Well, actually, we don't know that. Maybe
she's got better. She's got better self-control than Draymond, I would say. But she's always
that's not a high bar.
No.
Imagine if you go into a job interview. How would you say your self-control rates? I'd say, well, I'm not as bad as Draymond. Oh, okay, perfect. You're hired. That's not. It's not.
Jordy McBucket says she's spicy. I think that's a good description. So she's got a good history there. And let me just check the lineups. She started last night with Beck Allen out. She's projected to start again tonight. So I think that puts her in a good spot to maybe get like 30 minutes. She didn't do anything last night, right? She started out, scored the first bucket of the game, and then finished with 6. But she did play 29 minutes. So if you filter her minutes, just even 28 plus over the last 30, right? She's got a decent hit rate, 67% of those games. So yeah, I think she's probably in a good spot. I think she'll probably do some things tonight. She can't shoot as bad as she did last night. No, nobody could, right? All right. So let's go back to the alt props cheat sheet. And anybody else on here, Tom, that you were eyeing?
Yeah, I like Jackie Young. I like
Jackie Young
I like her
rebounds, or
you could put her 4 rebounds and 6 assists together and get -115 on FanDuel. I think that's real nice.
Yeah, so Jackie Young. So let me just tee up that game. We got the Aces at the Lynx. Aces are 3-1, Lynx are 4-1. So these are two of your top teams in the league going head to head. Lynx are getting 4.5 points at home. Both of these teams have been scoring like crazy. Aces score 91 points a game, and the Lynx score 88 points a game. Total in this game is 169.5. So, yeah, and the Aces started their season, as Jordy's saying, all at home. So this is, I think, their first road game. So I think the Lynx could win this game. Quite honestly, I think them getting 4.5 points is kind of crazy. But yeah, so you like Jackie Young for 4 rebounds, which she's done in 75% of her games so far this season. She's actually had 6 rebounds and 75% as well. And put that with what? 6 assists?
6 assists, yep.
Which she's done 100% of games. Again, this is highly dependent on Chelsea Gray continuing to be out, right?
Yep.
Chelsea Gray's the playmaker on this team. She's still out. So we ride it. Let's just take a look at the props.cash charts on this one. Who are we looking at here? Young.
Jackie.
Brain went dead for a second there. All right. So this season, 7, 6, 8, and she only had 1 rebound against Indy, which is kind of crazy. But
yeah, what happened there?
I don't know.
She just didn't get enough rebounds.
My assumption.
Can you get? Sorry,
go ahead.
I was looking for like rebound assist combo if we could find it for value, but
Dunk on Demand is saying Jackie Young was guarding Caitlin Clark, so maybe that just had her more on the perimeter. You know, if you watch how teams are guarding Caitlin Clark, they're just like they stick somebody on her like a glove. You know.
Did you see the girl last night that had a free throw, shot a free throw, and then jumped out to guard her and didn't realize that she needed to shoot another free throw herself?
Yeah,
that clip is pretty wild. That's how much they're paying attention. She still got 32.
Because one free throw only gets you 1 point, but one Caitlin Clark 3 is -3. So I think she did it right. She prioritized correctly.
Her head was in the right place. That's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, I think this is an excellent spot. I think we're getting good value. I would even consider Jackie Young for 5.5 rebounds straight up at +106. I think that's or +110. But yeah, I like you said 4 rebounds, and then the assist side 6 assists. She's had that in every game, and she only played 30 minutes in that game. Tonight, I think she's going to play 38 plus minutes. I think she's going to be out there. Tim, what was the combo stat you were trying to look at for Jackie Young?
I was trying to see if we could find her rebounds plus assists, because if we're taking 4 and 6, I wanted to see what just the rebound and assist was, but it's not listed anywhere that I have.
Yeah, it looks like Prize Picks has PA for 27.5, PR for 26.5, and RA for 11.5. So that's probably where it would be set. It doesn't look like that's out on FanDuel or DraftKings yet.
Yeah, I don't hate that but I mean, if with the combo at -117, you just gotta you don't get that insurance of her getting 12 assists, and then you don't have to worry about rebounds.
Yeah,
but I like that 117 play.
You get you're trying to get an RA of 10 versus an RA of 12, right? So that's the value you get. But yes, you're definitely restricting yourself a little bit there. What's going on here? We got a lot going on. Rebecca Allen is announced out. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That would have been fun to have her, because she formerly played on the Liberty just 2 seasons ago. So and she kind of torched them in the playoffs last year. What else are we talking about? McBride has been playing out of her mind. McBride's history versus Aces is terrible. Yeah, we're going to talk about McBride in a second. All right, so Tom, I like that play. A Jackie Young, keep it simple. You're sticking with your NBA builder theme, right?
Yes.
Just 1 player, 2 props, 3 props.
It's been working. Good. Working. Wow, Lucas saved us last night with that late 3 to cash that.
Yeah, exactly.
Night, so Yeah.
You know, FanDuel is just not being nice though. Like I would love to tack Jackie Young 15 points onto any of these plays too.
I looked for
but,
it. I know.
But they aren't.
You know what you
they
could
aren't
do?
offering it.
What?
You could add Leon Draisaitl 1 single point and you get plus 135. So
I feel like
really
every show we're adding Leon Draisaitl to something, some sort of
in
basketball.
every show we cash that leg.
That Gafford got his assist last night.
He did, but we didn't. Remember the cross sport we did last night with Caitlin Clark, Gustav Forsling, and then Naz Reid.
Yeah,
that was the NBA was the weak link in that one. Unfortunately, I really wanted to use that for some marketing for the what did he call it? Calvin had a name for it. I can't remember what it was, but they're sneaky, man. But yeah, if you take just that play and add Draisaitl, which I'm absolutely doing right now and hitting it, you get plus 130. It just dropped to 133, so you better hurry up. It'll be negative pretty soon. No, I like that a lot.
Right. We got our guy Chi-Town Kicks in the chat with us. BCAP 1992 has joined us as well. Thanks, guys, for coming. 2 visitors in the chat as well. If you guys can just hit the join button. If you see the prop the mic symbol at the top of playback, there's a join button right next to that. Just hit join, and then you will officially be part of the Tim Trad fan club, whatever that's worth.
Yeah,
I think it's worth something. Right?
I mean, last night it was really well, but just not Naz Reid.
All right. Anything else, Tom? Did you have any other
no, those are my plays for today.
Yeah, I mean, other green ones that are popping up on here. You know, Shakira Austin for 10 points. I think she's still questionable for today. She was out last game, but that's a good spot against a Washington, an Atlanta team that's kind of not really great at defending the center. Like they don't really have a true center. They have Tina Charles in there, who's kind of like somebody said earlier, just happy to be in the league. Tina Charles at 10 points, I think, is also probably a good look. So you could look to maybe put Tina Charles and Shakira Austin together, both for 10 points. Charles has got a 75% hit rate this season, and Shakira Austin 100% hit rate in the game she's played. So that might be a good look as well in that game. One other call out in this game, the Atlanta-Washington game. Guards against Atlanta is a really good spot, right? So let me list 4 guards that have just crushed Atlanta so far this season. We got Kia Nurse scored 23 points. Kalia Copper scored 38 points. Arike Agumbawale scored 24 points. And Kayla McBride scored 31 points. Those are some monster games for the WNBA, all to happen this early in the season. The problem is their opponent tonight, Washington, doesn't really have a great guard. So their great guard is Brittany Sykes, and she's been out with an injury. So Jordy's saying, what about Ariel Atkins? I think that's a good question. Let's take a look at Ariel Atkins. There's really 3 guards on the team right now that you could consider playing. One would be Ariel Atkins. The other is Samuelson. And the third, a mystery person we'll talk about in a second.
Mystery person. All right.
Mystery person. All right. So let's take a look at Ariel Atkins. You guys tell me if you think this is worth a play tonight. No, that's Jackie Young. Very different player. All right, so Ariel Atkins, her line is it was 12.5 earlier. It's up to 13.5. So definitely there's some movement. She's notorious for every other AD shit. Yeah, it does look like that's the pattern. But if that is the case, then we're in for a good one tonight, right? 20 points, 8 points, 19 points, 9 points, 16 points, and whatever that is too, maybe.
We found
so her line is 13.
The NBA.
Her line is 13.5. You know, she's been playing prior to last game versus Seattle. She's been playing 30 plus minutes. Let's just look at what she's done in her career with 30 plus minutes over the last 30 games. That's pretty good, right? Got a 67% hit rate. You can take her on FanDuel for 10 plus points. And if you look at that hit rate,
that
with 30
nice.
minutes, 90%. So I think she's a slam dunk for 10 points tonight. I don't know if anybody has the odds in front of them for that one.
I'm checking right now.
It's probably like minus
For
400.
Anthony Davis, minus 480.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean,
juicy.
that's a
yeah.
decent leg.
Yeah.
So I would consider putting her in a builder. I don't know if I'd play her for the full 13.5, just given her inconsistency. Prize Picks has already bumped it up to 14. So it looks like a lot of people are on it, which would make me more comfortable playing 10 versus 14. All right, so that's Ariel Atkins. We like her for 10 points as part of a builder. We also have Carly Samuelson, who is equally streaky, but her shot volume is not as high as Atkins. They both play similar, like 25 to 30 minutes, but you could see she's attempting about 8 shots a game, whereas Atkins, I think, was closer to 12 to 14, somewhere in that range. So if you were going to choose between the two of them, I could see Carly Samuelson going out and like bombing like 5 threes tonight and crushing this, because that's pretty much what McBride was doing the other day, and probably what Kia Nurse was doing when she scored 23. So she's probably in a good spot to clear, but I don't know. If it between two players, I generally like to play the player who gets more shot volume. So any thoughts on that between those two based on what you see here?
Take the shot volume, no?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then the last player, let me refresh my props.cash screen. See if she's any props, but there's a woman named Julie Van Loo, who is a 31-year-old rookie in the league.
I was looking at Julie Van Loo, but those 4 assists were not available on FanDuel.
I don't see anything available.
Yeah.
Anybody see anything available for her?
I think I saw something.
Oh, there we go. We got 5.5 assists available on DraftKings. But I just like the story. 31-year-old rookie, and she's coming to the league. I love playing players that are playing with purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, she's been probably trying to get into the league her whole career, and now she's coming and she's been pretty good. Very tough. You know, her rebounding I wouldn't touch if that becomes available. The assists I like, but 5.5 seems a little high given what she's done. But her points is really nice. So at 10.5 points, if that ends up being the line, this is just kind of a projection from props. But if you get it for like 10.5 or 11.5, I would love that play tonight. I think she's been the most consistent scorer over the last 5 games from the guard position, and she's taken advantage of the time. Brittany Sykes will eventually come back, and then she'll probably take her minutes away. So I think she's playing with purpose. She knows her clock is limited and playing time, and I think she'll probably go out there and take advantage of this good matchup. So if you can get Julie Van Loo before the game starts, I would jump on that one. I think that's great for part of a builder at 10 points or 10.5 or 11.5 even. All right.
Very nice. Yeah, I see her assists are available on Prize Picks, but not much otherwise. Yeah.
Jade Melbourne as well could be a good look, although I don't know if I've ever seen props out for her. I don't know if you've seen that before, Jordy. All right. Anything else? We got Dunk on Demand wants us to take a look at Ryan Howard's 3 points made.
Her volume is always beautiful, right?
Howard, I just have nothing but good feelings about Howard, because that was the player who FanDuel gifted us the two made threes on this season when she only made 1. So I feel pretty good about that.
She's averaging almost 8 3-point attempts. 8 3-point attempts this season. Pretty good.
Yeah, she's not afraid to shoot. Let's take a look at that 3-point made. 7, 9, 8, and 7, and she's done pretty well there. So yeah, I like Ryan Howard as well. Let's just take a quick look. She's going up against Washington again, and from a DVP standpoint, Washington is only given up the 3rd most 3-point attempts to opposing guards. So not necessarily the best matchup, but Ryan Howard will get the volume I think she gets there tonight. All right. You guys got anything else for these games?
That's a wrap.
I really like the Brianna Stewart 8+ rebounds in any leg, though. I just keep looking at it.
It's
wanna throw that
honestly,
in
it's
there.
one of my favorite plays.
Get that in the Tatum cross
two-
score one. No, was that?
Yes, we've
Nice.
done that. I mean, that's one of the. It used to be for me last year. It used to always be Vandersloot 6 assists and Stewart 8 rebounds. Used to put those two together all the time, but Vandersloot's just been inconsistent so far this year. So I'm gonna lay off of that. But if you can get Vandersloot for 4 assists and they offer that, that would be amazing. Alicia Gray, real quick before we. The chat is hungry tonight.
Says it's 2.5 on FanDuel, plus 116 on.
What is?
Alicia Gray 2.5 threes. She's been shooting well this year. He wants to slam the under.
Yeah, you
They
can
have Vandersloot, but only at 6 assists. You want her at 4, right?
Yeah.
juice to minus 168. Alicia Gray under 2.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she how many did she shoot against Minnesota? She took four attempts. I mean, yeah, if you look at the volume for her to get 3 threes, it's kind of crazy, right? Because in 3 out of the 4 games she's played this year, she's only attempted 4 threes, right? So game against Phoenix, who anybody can score on, even Tim Trad's high school team.
Maybe.
Nice callback.
She put up a ton of threes, but other than that, she's kind of limited to her threes. So I think that's probably a good look, but I don't know about paying the juice. Maybe put that as part of a parlay. All right.
All right, guys. I gotta run.
Yep.
But I think you're almost done.
We're done.
Hell yeah. Sorry. Leon Draisaitl, that's the point. You get it.
All right. We got some good stuff here.
I'll talk to you guys a little bit later.
All right. Thanks for joining.
Yep. See you guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Be good.